Producers, how are you guys doing today? In this video, I'll be making a beat. I don't know what type of beat I'll be making yet, but by the end of this video, we'll have something. And you guys can tell by the title, or actually the title should be below this video, what it is. So what's the one that I was just listening to? I definitely want to make a beat with that one. So guys, if you don't understand what's going on right now, these are melodies that I created. Every day I try to create 4 melodies, but I'll put out melodies. I make loops, like wave loops. I'll have vinyl samples, all kinds of stuff. That's cool. I like that. Get a MIDI track. Copy this melody to that MIDI track just so that we don't lose track of it. The cool thing is, even if I lost track of that melody, I could just go back to my Dropbox and find it. Let's turn on this attack. See what happens if we take it up an octave. But I think we're good just how this is right now. Now I want to make a very interesting beat right now. I just want to be creative with it. I don't even care if it sounds weird. That's the point. Because I'm trying to be creative with this one. So let's get a nice 808. I just want to do something wild. So let's see what this sounds like. Now, but how I found out the root note is I just look at the bottommost chord. If not, I just use my ears. This is a C. Let's turn up the volume on this. I always turn down the velocity to volume because I don't want the velocity to affect how hard my 808 hits. Alright, anyways, let's turn this shit up to 25%. I want to try something different because I always turn down the velocity, but I guess you could do some cool 808 rolls and stuff if you like play with the velocity. I've never tried that. But let's go ahead and create a very wild pattern here. What's the next chord? So C, and then there's a D. So I'm guessing actually the bottommost note is a G sharp. So what we can do is we can just follow that. If that doesn't sound good, then I'll go to a D. Here's what I'll do. I'll do this, and then let's see. The last one is a G. So let's copy this and put it at the end here. Now if we look at our 2 melody tracks, it should align. So there's a C. Now this one, there's a G. It's a G. I just know that sounds good because a G is 5 notes down from C, or 5 tones down, semitones down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know that sounds good. That's why I went with a G. And you can see that G is in this chord, so it could work. not feeling the D pause. So let's do an A sharp. Hell no. Doesn't sound good. Yeah, there we go. So let's go with that. So let me turn down the sustain now. And what you're gonna notice is that this 808 becomes super plucky. Let me turn up my volume. And let's turn up the decay now to make this sound a little bit longer. Let's take this down an octave. Now the final thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the pitch and I'm gonna bring this up to, I don't know, like 6. Let's do 7. And I'll turn down the decay a little bit. The pitch drop that's happening right here is making a kick. But I only want that effect just a little bit. I don't want it to be too aggressive. Alright, now let's fill up this drum rack with some drum sounds real quick. I like where this is going. So let's get a nice clap. Let's put this in the drum rack. Bear with me, this beat sounds weird, but I'm just trying to get I'm trying to get a rhythm, you know what I'm saying? Something interesting. That's why the 808 sounds so weird, because I'm trying to be creative. And hopefully this comes out hard. Let's try different 808s. Like, so let me turn down the volume of that bullshit, because I turned up the volume by accident. Alright, we're going somewhere interesting with this. Let's change the pattern here. It sounds like an 808s and heartbreak type pattern. But I don't give a fuck what it sounds like. Let's just be creative here. So let me think about how I want this to keep going. So I want to accentuate the rhythm. So what I can do is we should add pauses to this melody right here. So I'll put a utility down, and there's a mute button on the utility. And that just allows me to mute the track without having to use this button right here, because this is for if I want to like turn off a track entirely. I only want to mute certain parts. So let's see what would happen if we like muted right after the clap each time. Listen to this. This sounds super good. What I'm gonna do is make a more interesting pattern. So a clap and then a snare. So I'll do something like this. And let's add like some snare rolls. Oh, that snare sounds super interesting. So I'll use that and I'll pitch it up like an insane amount, and I'll just use it to create little little rolls. Let's put it super far in the background. And how you put sounds in the background, guys, is that you lower the volume. And actually the real way to put sounds in the background is to put reverb on them. I need to make a tutorial explaining how reverb actually works, because it's actually amazing like what it can do. But by putting on reverb, you can actually, if you know how the controls work, which I learned, I really learned each part of it, then you know how to move. If you learn them, then you know how to move a sound forward or backwards, and you can like make your whole mix and just put each instrument in different positions. So it's really cool. I need to make a video about that. I'm gonna go with a triplet grid real quick. Hell no, that's too much. Too much. Alright, next thing, let's add like just a basic hi-hat. And let me go ahead and just create a pattern and have it layered over my 808. So everywhere where I see an 808 note, I'm gonna put a hi-hat down. Now I'm turning down the sustain. That way it becomes clickier. So the sustain is the volume that you want the note to sustain at. So when I hit my keyboard, I hit a note on my keyboard, it's gonna sustain at 0 decibels, which just means full volume. If I turn it all the way down, that means I want the note to fade out until it becomes silent. And then the decay, holy crap, and then the decay is how long it takes for it to reach that silence, or to reach any level in between full volume and silence. So if I wanted to, I can make it fade to a lower volume, but not all the way to the bottom. All right, I think that's good. All right, let's get one more instrument sound. We pan this snare to the left and these hi-hats to the right. Actually, I'll pan them to the left a little bit. All right, now let's get a different sound. What I want to try real quick is I want to try turning off the mutes right here and then freezing this track, turning it to audio. So I'm holding Alt or Control if you're on Windows, and then I'm dragging so that it makes a copy without getting rid of what we have up here. And then up here, I'm just gonna turn it back to how it was. Let's mute this track temporarily. And let's turn the pitch up on this. Now what I'm curious about is what would happen if we start adding effects. So I have this cool, it's like a gross beat type plugin, except it has more features. It's harder to control though, but it's called Shaperbox. I'm gonna try to see if I can make a cool pattern with this, or find a cool pattern. So let's go to the Shaperbox real quick. So as you can tell, there's different bands. There's like the low end, there's a mid, and then there's a high end. All right, that's cool. All right, let me go ahead and freeze this. And let me flatten it. So now it's part of that effect is gone and it's part of the audio now. So what I'm gonna do is chop this up a little bit and maybe like fade this in like that. Keep the little chops that I want. Like I like this one right here. Let's turn on this original track. And what I'll do is I'll do something like this. I'm just chopping and screwing up this beat, like in a good way though. But I'm just doing this by ear really. So just notice all the controls that I'm hitting. I don't want to have to like explain in words everything I'm doing because my mind is working way faster than I can explain. Like, imagine having to explain every time you change the volume. That would like be a pain in the ass. And I'm just doing little micro changes, just trying to find something that sounds good to my ears. So notice I'm changing the pitch. I might pull up the fades every once in a while just to see how it sounds if it's faded in. So if you didn't catch some of the stuff I was doing, just go back and look at some of the controls I'm hitting and stuff. But I want to try like creating a pitch bend upwards at the end here. So I always go to complex mode instead of beats mode, because beats mode chops up the sample into different pieces, and I want it to be a smooth pitch transition. So let's turn this up to where it was. So that's good enough. Let me see if I can add like a lead sound. These are our chords. These are our stutters. And now I want to find like a lead sound that I can add before I really start going crazy and add like hella drums and stuff. So let's go under soft leads. Hopefully there's something cool down here. So I like this sound. I just don't like the attack. I like how it sounds when you start gliding, but I don't like that little swell at the beginning. So what I'm gonna try to do real quick is I'm going to be a problem solver. I'm gonna be creative. This is what you gotta do when you're producing. If you don't like how something sounds, and I know that this is a preset, so it's not a real synth, so I can't really change the sound with sound design, or else I would. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this and create a super extended note here. I'm going to freeze the track. I'm going to flatten it till it's one long sound. Now this is going to be hard to manipulate, but I'm going to get a MIDI track and I'm just going to drag this down here, and I'll right click this and change it to a sampler. And now there's a loop button, the sustain mode, and what I'll do is I'll make it so that it loops perfectly. Alright, so I can hold this note for as long as I want, and it's still gonna sound just right. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this on glide mode, and I'll leave it pretty low. Now the whole reason I did this is so that I could get rid of this start right here. I can bring this in a little bit later. And now I have this very cool sound without that little swell at the beginning. So there you go. This is so interesting. It's so weird and cool at the same time. It's like an R&B beat, but it's weird. Alright, let me hurry up. Now with leads though, I can also put distortion on here, or distortion on them. And since they're monophonic, which means they only play one note at a time, unlike a chord sound where you're playing a lot of notes. And why this matters is that when you put distortion on it, it will sound fine. But if you put distortion on a sound that has chords and that you're making chords with, it's gonna sound pretty bad. But for leads, distortion works great. Saturation does as well. I mean, that is distortion. Let me just capture that. So what I like to do sometimes is I just like to freestyle stuff for a long time and then take all the different parts of the freestyle that I like and put them together into one long melody. What I wanted to do now was add a kick and hopefully get started and add some more drums to this. I want a nice bouncy kick. Alright, so let's get that. What was I gonna do? Let me listen to this BPM right now. Alright. Okay, that's the pattern I was gonna go with right there. In cases where my kick sounds like this, like it sounds dull. The solution that I like to go with is I'll hit Command G to put it in a group, and I'll hit this chain button so I can see the different layers. Right now there's only one layer, which is just the kick, but I like to put in some white noise, so I'll get an operator and I'll go ahead and put noise white, and I'll turn down the sustain like I explained before so that the white noise just cuts off. Let's go ahead and listen to it by itself by soloing it. So I just get a little bit of white noise and then I cut out all the lows, or a lot of the lows. I like sometimes using a band pass. I'll turn up the resonance a little bit and I'll add that little click to the top of, over top of my kick. Now when the kick still sounds dull, because it's kind of a very smooth sounding kick right now, to make it harder you can put saturation on there, some distortion, make it nice and crunchy and hard. Pause. And I turn down the white noise a lot. So boom. It's a lot harder now. Now let's duplicate all of this over. And let's create like a whole different section of our beat here. And I'll change the 808 pattern that we have. Sounds pretty cool. Oh shit. Go ahead and add chorus to the stutters just so that they sound super intense. And let me put some OTT on this. It's just some compression. Put some reverb. Other than that, I'm just gonna take a break and come back in a bit. Alright, so I'm back. It's the next day at this point, and I just came back to this project. Let's go ahead and finish this. So already off the bat, I want to repeat this loop. And what I like to do is I'll select an area when I want to copy a whole arrangement. Then I'll hit Command L, and the loop up here will fit to that area. So let's do it right here. And as you can tell, the loop fits to that area. So let me do it with these two. Then I'll hit Control Shift L or Command Shift L, and I'll hit Command C. And that's how I copy stuff. Then I'll go to the beginning over here, and if you hit Command Shift V, what it's gonna do is it's going to shift over all of the tracks. So it's not gonna overlap over the tracks. If I hit Command V, it'll overlap with the tracks, and I don't want that. So I hit Command Shift V, and it'll shift everything over. But so what I was thinking is, with this 808 pattern, it kind of gets too crazy near the end here. So what I'll do is I'll take this part, I guess, and then I'll make it more complicated. I'll do something like this. Alright, let's just keep doing that. Consolidate it with Control J, bring it, copy it over, and then on this second part I just brought it down an octave. So as you can tell, this one is C4, this one is C3. So let's rename this lead. I really love how this lead is sounding. It sounds so cool. All right. Let's maybe add one more sound, one more synth sound to this arrangement near the end here. And I just woke up, so that's why my voice sounds so tired. Like, I don't know how to describe it. All right, let's hit shuffle. to make an omnisphere pack one of these days. Because I'm getting tired of having these basic sounds. I could make some crazy sounds in omnisphere. I like that sound. It sounds so nostalgic. Here. And we can take this up an octave. Alright, this sounds cool. Alright, this is so cool. Let's zoom out. See, this is where the zoom is useful. So if your piano roll looks like this, that means you just need to zoom in like that. But let's zoom out. This is so close to being correct, to being right. So this sounds cool. I just want to add an effect to this, the shaper box effect. Let's make a pattern instead of using a preset. First of all, what does this sound like? This is cool. Sounds awesome. Let's take this down an octave. Let's freeze this track. And let's take this down. Let me unfreeze this and bring it up an octave. Alright, so what I'm gonna do at this point is I'm going to halftime this beat. So a really common plugin nowadays is halftime, but it's really just a discount version of Shaper Box. It's made by the same company, but it's like the discount version. So how halftime works is that you're basically going like this, or actually it's the other way around. So let's go ahead and listen to this, and let's make it a bar long. And let's do like 2 bars actually. Let's make this higher pitch. And let's do one. And the cool thing about this is that you can split it like this. So I can have my halftime only be in the middle frequencies of my sound, which is kind of cool. But you can also change the mix so that it's layered with the original. So let's put it at 50%. Alright, and we're all good to go. So that's our halftime. Now I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this beat. And let me export this melody. This melody is fire. It's gonna be in my loop kit for the next month as soon as I post it. So November 2018. Just look at the details of this month's loop kit in the link and you'll see what's in here for this month. But definitely going to save this melody 180 BPM. So definitely check out that loop kit. I'm also gonna render out this one right here, this loop, put it to 0, and then export it. And this will be 7, and of course I put the BPM. And I really need the note key or whatever, the root, because sometimes people want to know the key of the sample. I'm gonna start including that, but you don't really need to know it. You just need to basically find the root note by ear, and then you're good to go. But for those of you that do want that, I will add the root note. But sometimes the sample doesn't stay in one key, so so I won't necessarily always put like a whole key, because that might not apply. But let's go ahead and finish this beat up. I'm gonna mix it and stuff, just level all the different instruments, And the project will be uploaded as well for yearly subscribers to the Loop Kit. So if you're a yearly subscriber, you get all my projects for this whole next year. But other than that, thanks for watching. Let me know what other types of videos you guys want to see, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.